You know, we all have that moment. You buy something new and there's a tiny flaw, so it gets tossed. Well, in this explainer, we're going to look at a project that takes that exact moment, that simple, defective sock, and turns it into something absolutely amazing for the future.
So let's start with a really simple question. What happens to a defective sock? I mean, usually, right? It just goes in the trash. End of story. But what if it wasn't? What if that one little sock could be the beginning of something huge?
Well, that is exactly the big idea behind this project. It turns that flawed sock into a massive opportunity. It's not seen as waste at all. Instead, it becomes the starting point for creativity, for innovation, even for making a real difference. So let's dive into our first section, socks, skills, and sustainability. And let me be clear, this is not your average arts and crafts class. No way. This is a super well thought out program that mixes environmental awareness with skills you'll actually use in life, all wrapped up in this idea of sustainability. And one of the most brilliant parts of this whole thing was a partnership they set up. They collaborated with a local sock factory. So the students got this constant supply of materials, these defective socks, that were just going to be thrown out anyway. They literally learned to see factory waste as a treasure trove. And yeah, they made some incredible things. But the real goal here went so much deeper. It was about building these core skills for life. Things like creativity, problem solving, learning to work as a team, even digital and communication skills. They were building a real foundation for whatever they do next. Okay, so how did they actually pull this off? The whole project was built around a really powerful but simple idea. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the blueprint for how they made this happen. The magic word here is upcycling. Now, this isn't just reusing something. It's about taking that thing and making it better. It's the art of adding your own creativity and value to turn something that was basically trash into something with a whole new life. And it's really important to know the difference between this and recycling. Recycling is awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's an industrial process. It breaks stuff down to its basic parts, and often the quality goes down. Upcycling, though, that's a creative process. It's about using your imagination to give something a new purpose, without having to destroy it first. And, this wasn't just a chaotic burst of creativity. The whole project followed a really clear timeline. It all kicked off in November with research and brainstorming. Then, come January, they were designing and building prototypes. And it all wrapped up in April with a big showcase to share their work. A perfect journey from an idea to a real-world impact. All right, now for the really fun part. From trash to treasure. With their plan all set, the students just rolled up their sleeves and dove into this amazing process of turning junk into, well, treasure. And the stuff they were working with, it was so much more than just socks. We're talking plastic bottles, cardboard, bits of fabric, even metal parts and wood. It was like their own personal treasure chest, just filled with things that other people had decided were worthless. And they had a really smart process for it all. First up was just brainstorming, right? Like, what could we turn this bottle into? Or what's the story inside this scrap of fabric? Then they'd build a first draft, a prototype, just to see if the idea worked. And finally, they'd get into workshops to refine everything and turn those rough ideas into amazing finished products. So what came out of all this? The final products were just, wow. They made everything from toys for kids and wearable costumes to interactive games, sculptures, and even cool decorations for your home. Every single thing they made was proof that there's potential everywhere, if you just know how to look for it. And this quote right here, it really hits the nail on the head. It says, the whole point was to boost environmental awareness, promote sustainable living, and help students build new skills. So yeah, the products were cool, but the real goal was to create a mindset that would stick with them forever. And that brings us to the lasting impact of this whole thing, to a future in their hands. Because the real legacy of this project goes way, way beyond the classroom walls. See, this was always more than just a school project. It was a powerful lesson in social responsibility. The students weren't just making things for the sake of it. Their work had a real purpose. And the outcomes were incredible. The stuff they made, donated to people who needed it. Their work was put on display in exhibitions, and they even made a short film about the whole journey. But maybe the biggest win of all is that it started to change how the schools themselves thought about sustainability. And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? The project was all about creating a new generation of environmentally conscious, productive, and innovative people.
It's about giving them the tools to not just see problems, but to creatively solve them. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. After seeing what these students could do with a single sock, what's the waste around you that's just waiting to be transformed? What's sitting in your home or your community that's just one creative idea away from becoming something amazing?